TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfredo Conce. Tonight, minority concerned that the nomination of Dr. Johnson Isiama as the governor of the Bank of Ghana could potentially spell doom for Ghana on the international market. Legitimate concerns or sheer fear-mongering? Well, Nelson Watson Dafianfo has been replying the minority on this matter. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. Also, we take interest in the use of Ghanaian languages on the floor of Parliament during proceedings. Earlier today, we saw the Asante Achim North Member of Parliament submit his issues on the floor in local language, specifically Akan. What are the pros and cons of this particular development, and what do the rules of Parliament say about the use of Ghanaian languages on the floor of Parliament? Stay with us. We have a conversation. Also, we're live this evening in the Volta region tonight, where there's water shortage in some parts of the region, leaving some residents stranded. We'll hear from authorities what they're doing about the situation. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. As you may already be aware, the United States President Donald Trump has ordered the shutdown of the USAID. Ghana benefits millions of dollars from the USAID support program. We'll tell you the various sectors that are going to be impacted by this development and what has to be done going forward. That's the thinking tonight. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Speaker of Parliament has suspended the work of the committee probing the chaos which marred the work of the Appointment Committee Thursday, January 30th. Work of the 7-member ad hoc committee was suspended abruptly after the Clerk of Parliament withdrew support staff.
The Vice Chair was with us. He even asked questions. Along the line, he requested that he want to meet with his leader. And so we're told, when he came back, he said the leader asked him to recuse himself and not to be part of the meeting again. We had one of the witnesses from the other side who was coming, and later on sent a text message that he will not come again because his leader said he should not come.
The minority in Parliament has expressed worry over the potential economic and potential difficulties the country could face if Dr. Johnson Isiama is approved as the Bank of Ghana governor. According to the caucus, the discontinuation of criminal charges against Dr. Isiama by the president will damage Ghana's credibility on the global stage and discourage financial institutions from doing business with Ghana.
We ask, how would the IMF and the International Finance Corporation see Ghana if one of our lead negotiators is perceived as a potential criminal convict charged with various acts of criminalities? Won't it be proper if these international agencies or bodies have the assurance that we are allowing the court processes to run for proper adjudication and judgment? Would the decision to discontinue the court processes not lay credence to any suspicion of cover-up for Dr. Isiama and hence affect the image of the central bank and Ghana at large?
President John Mahama has directed Lands and Natural Resources Minister to take urgent steps to formulate policies that will take the galamsey menace in line with the NDC promises in 8 People's Manifesto. John Mahama has said it is his conviction that galamsey must be tackled as a national menace to which he remains most committed.
Your own son, Ama Kofi-Boa, is formulating strategies for the implementation of our manifesto promise for dealing with this galamsey menace. Our plan will involve the communities, including the chiefs and the youth, to take part in protecting their lands and forests and water bodies. We're not going to make it the responsibility of only the security agencies, we're going to involve the chiefs and the young people in the communities to help to protect your own lands, your forests, and your water bodies.
The Western...
The Ghana Police Service has arrested 5 persons in connection with the murder of Kumasi Asante Kotoko fan Francis Yao Frimpong at Nswatre. The Police Management Board has also met the Ghana Football Association to fashion out effective ways to tighten security at all match centres.
We are currently pursuing a few others, including a female that we are working on, who has been in hiding. But the question is, how far can you run and for how long can you hide after allegedly contributing to the sad situation that we face?
A tragic fire outbreak at Kiseman near Achimota in the early hours of Wednesday has claimed the life of a 5-month-old baby. Several kiosks and shops were also destroyed, leaving many residents displaced.
According to some sources or eyewitness, the lady that caused the fire, she lost her baby and then she lost her things and everything. As I speak to you now, even what I will eat and what I will wear is a problem.
The only thing I able to take is my bag, all my container, the kiosk, and my wife said there's money inside there. So I went inside there to check, and then someone's cylinder burst. So I quickly ran away and I lost everything. Only the bag that's at my back.
A violent attack on Dungla Gberuk in the Bunkprugu Nakpanduri district has resulted in 1 confirmed death, instilling fear in neighboring communities. As the assault unfolds, the precise cause of the clash is still unclear, contributing to the growing tension in the area. Many residents have fled their homes, leaving the community largely deserted.
As more news on 3news.com, make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, we take interest in the use of Ghanaian languages on the floor of Parliament during proceedings. What are the pros and cons, and what exactly are the rules of Parliament saying about the use of Ghanaian languages on the floor of Parliament? And there's a reason why we're doing this tonight. We're not doing it in oblivion. Earlier today, on the floor of Parliament, Member of Parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency, Ohene Kwame Frimpong, popularly we call him OK Frimpong, sought to make a submission. In fact, he did make a submission in the Ghanaian language, specifically Chi, or Akan for that matter. Now, this development brought about the question whether a lot more of that should be encouraged in the House, as the use of local languages. But this is exactly what transpired in Parliament earlier today. Take a look.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to stand by Order 631 of the Standing Order and bring my contribution in the local language.
Order
633.
Are you going to do the interpretation in English?
Yes, I can do that, yeah.
If you can do that, but why do you want to do it in Tree?
My constituents have told me severally that they want to hear or understand most of what we speak about in Parliament in the local language. So if I can indulge you on that, I would really appreciate it.
Is that so?
Yes, please. Right. Mr. Speaker, Didin Kameda Yunyaba Aye Felicia Ajay Sir Ode and some here we are to now kakra me pese me kan yakwan enye dodona enye ewo Ghana ha and afi ye street light ye ma me no e kan bibri e fa tourism ho ye nim sene tourism eboa krubia sene itimide sika eba ema economy no emu epija now mefa kwanya we so no masa atwe aban na adwen asi sese ye nyina nim se ye vice president ye maame Jane Nana Opoku oye oba na ya na etode bi a ya sefem se wonnam ba bi te se East Legon ene mia bibre a nhu ye nuanom ma se ne omo asalai e wo kwan ho a ya na ade ya semfem eni ti mi hu ni se ye betimi afa akwanya bi so na ye tu maifo se ne be ya omunjeja kwan ho se bi obi ho a bi we free America we free UK wate Ghana o pese o obeji nani kakra wo Ghana o pese o visit tourism sites na ohu enema bi sei na face ye street lights bebre onam a enye juma enti emma ya na kronu mani gie no ya na nipa bebre nheda enya ne saa enti me fa kwanya we so na matwe aban no adwen asi problems a efa yakwan a bebre enye efa ye street lights bebre asese na fe ya na se ne yehu emma bebre ejina ekwan ho a ebi aso omunye dwuma bi abara se sebi basibra na omobo ne de to omofo se enya no nko na ye adwuma on betimi aye e wo Ghana mamu ha aninti sabrei mesa ato aso aka se oba ba bi te se Asante Achim North hwidiem kura fro hwidiem a hwidiem ye waterfalls e wo ho ye pese ye krakra ne yi se ne be ya Asante Achim North nso so tourism ni bi ebetimi apija wo oba ba bi te se onyemso wa Asante Achim North also so ye waterfalls ni bi wo a enka yesuzu se aban ne de nani kɔ hɔ a ebetimi aboa ama tourism wa Asante Achim North nso so apija. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. If you want me to
do the interpretation for us.
Okay, right.
Honourable members, let's listen to him. He has to do the interpretation for us.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank the maker of this statement, my colleague, Honourable Felicia Ejei. I know that she spoke about tourism in Ghana. She made mention of bad...
That's okay for him there. So he made that submission in Twi and translated as was demanded of by the Speaker, in fact, the second Deputy Speaker who was presiding over the business of the House earlier today. But he quoted Order 63 of Parliament Standing Orders, and this is it, to support his position of making his submission in the local language. This is what Order 63 says, and this, let's read it together. The proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English. That's what it says. Except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language if facilities exist in the House for interpretation by the member or for contemporaneous interpretation. The proceedings of Parliament shall be interpreted in sign language to the largest extent possible. So essentially, this is what the Standing Order 63 of Parliament Standing Orders dictates when it comes to the matter of the use of local languages. So indeed, there is that allowance of the use of local languages in there. But then again, it is subject to interpretation by the member who spoke in that local language, or some facilities must be in place in Parliament to enable the interpretation to be done. Stephen Amoah, that's Dr. Stephen Amoah as well, in the Nshia, Member of Parliament, also had this to say after the Asante Achim North MP spoke in Twi. He indicated that this provision does not wholly enable the MPs to speak in local language. Take a look.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I think the Order 63.1, with a caption or heading, Language of Proceedings. With your permission, I would like to quote. The proceedings of Parliament shall ordinarily be conducted in English, except that a member may exercise the option to address the House in a local language. If facilities exist in the House for interpretation by the member or for contemporaneous interpretation. Mr. Speaker, I think in this House, it is visibly, credibly, crystal clear that we don't have that facility to allow my honorable member from the other side to, in my opinion, per the others, put up this unparliamentary position or action. Mr. Speaker, I would like to admonish the rest of the House that we should not misinterpret the standing orders and by doing that mislead other Ghanaians. It is extremely important and critical that we lead for the larger relevant stakeholders out there to follow.
Well, so that's Stephen Amor there, and in fact, we put this on our X page. So if you're watching us right now, as we always do here on Ghana Tonight, there's a poll that's running right now, whether or not you think that this should be encouraged, or there should be a precedent that should be encouraged for members of Parliament to use local languages on the floor of Parliament freely. As the Asante North MP said, he wants to connect with his constituents who are watching him to understand what he is saying on the floor. Austin Game is a Labour expert, but for this purpose, he is a former member of Parliament, two-time MP for the North Tongue constituency, which is currently being represented by Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the Foreign Affairs Minister. And he's joining us on Zoom right now. Mr. Austin Game, appreciate your time. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. You listen to the MP there, Asante North MP, make that submission in Chi on the floor of Parliament. Is it a precedent that should continue, or because of the multiple local languages that we have, this should not be encouraged?
Thank you. Indeed, as you rightly stated, I would have loved that it does continue to give our constituents the opportunity to hear, how their MPs articulate their views and concerns on national issues. However, in view of time and in view of the fact that we have numerous languages there, should anyone get up at any other time wanting to speak Fafra, wanting to speak Ewe, or Dangbe, or Dagomba, are we going to be allowing that? You say it, and then facility did exist. It existed with the personality himself. And he rightfully translated what he said in the Twi language or in the Kan language into English. So facility does exist. However, time is of essence in every department of the work that we do. And so, whereas I agree that it may be useful and helpful to our constituents, because of the impossibility and the practicality of getting translators for virtually every language, should they want to exercise that option, it will become a bit problematic in the House. So it should not be encouraged. They should be told, gently, that even though you have the option to do that, it may not be helpful to the entire, deliberative body, should we opt to exercise that right, generally. So I think it's it's good, but it's not the best under the circumstance.
You flip the coin and on the other side as well, you would understand why some believe that this should be encouraged. Reason being, for many, many years, there are some MPs who have been in Parliament. We've never heard them make a statement on the floor. And much of it is because they are not fluent in the English language. And sometimes you have Odikro, do a survey, and their constituents say they don't see their MPs speaking on the floor of Parliament. You look into it, and it's an issue of their inability to speak the Queen's language the best way possible. And they don't want to be the subject of public ridicule that, you know, because of some grammatical error, then they're the ones who are being talked about. They'll rather shut up and just be there. That's the other side of it, Mr. Garment, that we should consider, is it not?
Yes, I'm a pulse practitioner, and I can tell you that it's about people using language skills effectively. And therefore, the language, the English language obviously is not our language per se. We learned it and we try to use it. And it's been agreed in Ghana here generally as, you know, official language. But the truth is that we represent, as members of parliament, we represent constituencies. And they certainly want to hear us. Is it that our revered king of the Ashanti cannot speak English? He does. But he often will speak in his language to his people when even he has august visitors. You know, therefore, it gladdens my heart seeing him doing that. We could do that in Parliament, but the venue, Parliament, where we have 276 people gathered there, should each and every one of them opt to exercise that right, that option, I can guarantee you we will have a problem. Recently, they were vetting people, and time became the essence of people wanting to boycott the vetting because they think that they were getting tired. Yesterday, similar thing happened when they overly were indulging in getting themselves heard on every aspect of the report that was submitted in Parliament. If they want to use their local language during that period, it will be disastrous. However, it's an option that could be exercised by anyone who thinks that he is really or she is really handicapped or vulnerable under the circumstance, could opt for that, and arrangement will have to be made by the House to enable translation to be made for as many people who do not understand that language to understand. Because somebody who speaks some of our local languages, like maybe Fafra, and he want to exercise that option, you will not get more than 10 people in the room there understanding it.
Indeed, and rightly so. Mr. Garment, I appreciate your time on this. It's a conversation that we're going to keep going on and about it, but I thank you. And in fact, if you look at the new standing orders, the Order 63 that I put on the screen, sort of accommodates the complexity of this conversation that we're talking about. There's some accommodation in there as well. So as to whether MPs can fluently speak the King's language as we have it now, or they could speak in the local language and it be interpreted into English for all to understand, we'll see how things play out. But Order 63 makes that provision quite clear. Osingame, thank you so much for joining us. He is a former member of parliament for the North Tongue constituency, Labour expert, joining us here on Ghana Tonight. But talk about North Tongue and the Volta region, essentially. That's where we're going next here on Ghana Tonight. We're straight live in the Volta region, where there's a water shortage in some parts of the region, leaving some residents stranded. We'll hear from authorities what they're doing about the situation as we're picking up right now here on Ghana Tonight, and we've been keeping an eye on this particular issue and how worrying this has been, especially for the residents in these parts of the Volta region that we're talking about. We have a 360 eye on how things are playing out in most parts. The shutdown of the Peve water supply system in the Volta region continues to bite hard. That as residents in Ho and the catchment areas struggle to find alternative sources for water for domestic use. In fact, this situation has lasted for about a week. In fact, since the last week of December, we understand, since the last week of December. So it's about a month now. And our man on the ground, Faisal Abdul Idris, who's a Volta regional correspondent, is joining us on Zoom right now. Faisal, confirm to me if these are the areas experiencing this water shortage that we're talking about in the Volta region. Ho, Beve, Peki, Have, Ziavi, Bame, Akrofu, and Klepe. All these areas are affected by the water crisis, correct?
You probably had some good workflow and fertility tonight.
Absolutely.
Correct. You got it right. You got it right.
So these 8 areas and more are affected by the water crisis.
There are smaller communities that are equally suffering from a similar situation because they all depend on the private water supply system. And so apart from these communities, these are bigger towns, of course, that we are talking about. There are other adjoining communities that depend on the same system. They are equally in that situation as I speak to you. Rightly stated, from December, the very last week of December, the Ghana Water Company Limited issued a statement indicating that they were shutting down the private intake for some maintenance work to be done. Then about 4 days into that period, the water was restored, and so people could get water into their homes. 2 days after that, they issued another statement indicating that they were going for another maintenance work again. That didn't last for too long. Then on the 30th of January, they issued another statement indicating that they were shutting down the facility again. And since then, it's been 5-6 days already. Nobody is able to get water into their homes. You check from the communities I've just mentioned, you realize that businesses are suffering. Key government institutions that are providing, essential services like the hospital, the schools, among others, are all suffering. In the whole township, for instance, people are depending on boreholes, mechanized boreholes. So you see these vehicles moving across town, particularly in the morning and later in the evening between 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., moving about, cutting water from one mechanized borehole to the various households. And that is costing them a whole lot. I've been engaging residents who tell me that even in areas where they used to buy water for maybe 20 pesos a gallon in the past, now that price has shot up to somewhere around 2 cities, 1 Ghana city, or even 3 cities before you are able to buy just a gallon. And then you would have to get a here to transport that to your home, depending on the family size in terms of the number of people in the home. You may have to return in the evening again to fetch the water. So the situation is very severe and dire. Let me also remind you of the fact that the private water supply system we are talking about here is only able to distribute some 11,272 cubic liters of water to these areas I'm talking about. That is a huge shortfall from the daily demand, which is about 25,000 until the shutdown. So the situation is quite dire and very difficult, particularly for households that now have to find alternative sources. But let's listen to some of the residents that I engaged earlier today on the situation to have their own perspective on the very situation on the ground.
People have put it upon themselves to make an excess profit out of this water problem that we are facing. For instance, a bucket of water those days was sold at 20 pesos, but currently they are selling it at 60 pesos. So we are really suffering. So if anything that the government can do to help us solve our water problem as early as possible, we will appreciate it.
The situation is biting so hard. We struggle to get water to use in the morning before we go to work, before children go to school. It takes a lot of time to get some water. And my household, we struggle to the extent that my 8-year-old child will also have to carry gallons to the borehole side to go and fetch water. And the queues are so long.
It's a troubling situation, really, Faisal, and you did some good work there, giving us a clear picture of what's happening there right now. Faisal, stay with me, because thankfully we have the Volta Regional Minister joining us on Zoom as well, Honorable James Gono. So, Gono, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Ghana Tonight.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Now, from the report and the details from our correspondent, this water crisis that's hit these areas has persisted for over a month now. So what have you done about this?
Thank you very much. I assumed duty as the regional minister 3 days today, and I was met with this crisis. And in fact, it is something that is real. It's affecting the security system, it's affecting education, it's affecting health service delivery, it's affecting religion, it's affecting custom, tradition, and our cultural heritage. So everybody is concerned, including the traditional authorities. So on Monday, we went to Kweve, the treatment center, together with the delegation from the Asogli state. Then media were met by the management or the MD of the Ghana Water Company from Accra, and then the officers from the regional capital. The briefing I got from them was that from 1992-93 that the facility started operation. It was running on 3 pumps. It got to a point, all the pumps got spoiled. 1 new pump was purchased in 2016, and that is what has been working up to today. And recently, it got spoiled. They fixed it, they repaired it, fixed it, it got bent again. So they went to repair it again, fix it. It was not able to pump the water uphill. They went to look for additional one, which they are working on now to ensure that by the close of this week, they provide water to the whole municipality and its environment. The other aspect of the situation is that they are trying to procure new pumps too, and that should be arriving in March, because when you order the pump, it takes 3 months to deliver, according to the Ghana Water Company. So they are expecting 2 new pumps by March. However, the assurance they have given us is that by Saturday, water will start flowing in the capital. In addition to that, the Ghana Water Company is also helping with the Regional Coordinating Council to provide water to some institutions, such as the hospitals, the schools, and the security installations, to mitigate the situation. That is a temporary measure that we have taken. This today, whole teaching hospital, the Ghana Prison Service, and the 66th Artillery Regiment in Ho were served with water using the water tankers. This we know is not sustainable, because we also believe that we need to work towards achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 6. That is to ensure availability and management of water, sustainable water service delivery. So we want to trust the Ghana Water Company to deliver on their promises. Government will also take the necessary step to ensure that the facility is expanded, because the facility currently, even if this pump is repaired.
Mr. Gono, you made the point, and I want you to sit up a bit for me, please. If you could kindly sit up for me. Yeah, please sit up. So yes,
I hope you can see me clearly.
Yeah, right, we can.
Hear me.
Yes, we can hear you and see you clearly.
So
what I'm saying is, you said that the emergency measures that have been put in place is inadequate. You acknowledge that. So what are you doing, or how long is it going to take to repair the pump? Have you been told? Has Ghana Water Company given you an indication how long it's going to take?
This weekend. So we have given them up to Saturday to ensure that the pump is repaired and they start full operation. And as I started saying, the demand currently is over 30,000 cubic meters daily. But this facility is able to supply only 11,000 cubic meters. So there's a huge deficit in the system that we are hoping that the expansion will be able to take care of that and even do some projections deep into the future, because the whole municipality and its environment population is growing very fast. Currently, we have over 263,000 population. So if we are expanding this facility, we should be aiming at serving a population of 1 million, so that we will not have this crisis, going into foreseeable future.
Right.
We intend organizing a regional water dialogue.
Okay, but before we talk about the organization of a regional dialogue, I want to focus on the current situation. The people in all these areas don't have water. You've indicated that by end of week, all things being equal, this situation will be solved, correct?
That is the assurance we've received from the Ghana Water Company.
Okay, so between the last week of December and now, over a month now, what has the Ghana Water been doing about this broken down pump?
Yeah, what they said was that they repaired the pump, fixed it, and it got bent. So they couldn't operate. They had to take it back for repairs. And that they did and brought it again, fixed it, but it's not able to pump the water uphill. So they went in for another pump to help pump the water into the treatment plant. And that is what they are giving us assurance that by the end of this week, they will be able to fix that one and pump the water into the treatment plant. The moment they treat it, it is pumped into a high-level tank, and they distribute it through gravity, to the whole municipality and its environment.
I see.
We want to believe that the Ghana Water Company will surely deliver on these promises that they have given us. And God willing, I will follow up on Friday, get to the area again, and then check exactly what they have done so far and if they will be able to meet the deadline. And in the meantime, we are serving the people with water tankers and will continue until Saturday that the Ghana Water Company has given
right,
us.
and that's reassuring to hear from you as regional minister as well, that by weekend, the people who are watching us right now, by weekend, their predicament will come to an end. Another issue that they raise is that because of this water crisis, these people who are selling water to them are fleecing them. I mean, they are overcharging. Water that they were paying 20 pesos for, now they are being charged 60 pesos because of this situation. What would you have to say about that, or what are you going to do about that between now and end of week? That's end of week.
We just have to appeal to those who are doing this to actually know that we are facing crisis. Everybody who can assist should come in and assist without taking advantage of the situation to milk, the pocket of individuals and institutions. And I want to use your platform to appeal to, individuals and corporate organizations to come in. This is a serious crisis. And as I indicated earlier, it's not only impacting on, the security of the municipality. It's also affecting healthcare delivery.
Yeah.
It's affecting education. It's affecting almost every aspect of our social life.
True.
So we need to solicit the support of corporate Ghana and other individuals who can help us mitigate the situation.
Right.
Whilst the Ghana Water Company takes the step quickly to resolve these challenges, and government will also come in to, in the long term, make sure that we do the expansion project. And it's not only the Bever facility that is on the block. We also have planned to work on the Pandu one to deliver water to the people of Hokwe and its environment,
Okay.
and then that of Adidoma. These are all long-term plans that we have. And I made mention of the water dialogue that we want
and
to
all
have.
of that.
And it's also part of the long-term program that we have to diagnose the water
problem as you have it.
problem, and then find last.
Thank you very much. James Gono is the Volta Regional Minister there. That's the assurance from him to you, all the people in the Volta region watching us right now. All things being equal, by end of week, this water crisis would be over. And Faisal Idris is our Volta regional correspondent. Faisal, thank you for the great work there. Appreciate you. We'll keep an eye on this one and be updating you as well here on Ghana Tonight. But coming up next, we assess the implications of the shutdown of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. Thousands of employees at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, will be placed on leave from Friday night. According to the agency, a statement that they issued earlier today, they said that the order would affect all direct hire personnel except those on mission-critical functions, core leadership, and specially designated programs. It's unclear exactly which jobs are affected. The statement also posted on the agency's website said employees would Thursday afternoon, that's tomorrow. The Trump administration has said USAID is wasting money, the taxpayer, the U.S. taxpayers' money, and it needs to align with its policy priorities. Agency staff, backed by Democratic lawmakers, have protested the cuts, saying they will put lives in danger and hamper national security. President Donald Trump's earlier decision to freeze this foreign assistance has upended the global aid system, with effects already felt in countries such as Ghana, as well as Syria and Afghanistan. I will tell you why this decision is of concern to a number of non-governmental organizations, and indeed the Ministry of Health as well, that benefits extensively from the USAID and other sectors. And I will tell you the sectors as well that benefit from the USAID interventions. But this is what President Donald Trump said about the USAID and the decision to shut it down. Take a look.
12 years.
Will it take an act of Congress to do away with USAID, or do you believe you have...
I don't know. I don't think so. No, if not when it comes to fraud. If there's fraud, these people are lunatics. And if it comes to fraud, you wouldn't have an act of Congress. And I'm not sure that you would anyway. But we just want to do the right thing. It's something that should have been done a long time ago. It went crazy during the Biden administration. They went totally crazy, what they were doing, and the money they were giving to people that shouldn't be getting it, and to agencies and others that shouldn't be getting it. It was a shame. So they're tremendous fraud. But we'll be doing a report. We'll be giving you that report at the appropriate time.
Yeah. In the first term, though, USAID was something that you liked in some respects.
I love the concept of it. Yeah, sure. I love the concept, but they turn out to be radical left lunatics.
Well, these are the programs that may be impacted by this USAID shutdown, and it cuts across a number of sectors: health, education. We're talking about many others that we're looking at right now. And this is the HIV and AIDS medications. That's the antiretrovirals. USAID comes through strongly for Ghana. TB medications as well, malaria drugs, mosquito nets and equipments, capacity building for human resources, maternal, newborn and child health with a focus on preventing morbidity, adolescent reproductive health commodities. USAID comes through for us as a country, technical assistance through procurement and supply chain management, support public health programs, implementation, health infrastructure expansion, primary health care delivery at community health facilities. That's the CHIPS compounds, disease surveillance as well. All these areas, just to mention a few, benefit from the USAID interventions. And we looked at the amount of money that the USAID on an annual basis gives to Ghana, approximately $150 million annually. Ghana benefits from USAID support. So what that effectively means is that if this shutdown order by President Donald Trump is anything to go by, Ghana would have to start thinking about how to come up with this amount of money to plug that hole that the shutdown has created, and to support all these other programs that the USAID was supporting. That's all things being equal. These are the sectors: the health sector, the education sector, economic growth, agriculture, governance. All these areas, USAID comes through for Ghana. And this amount of money we're talking about, the $150 million approximately, doesn't only come in equipment or human resource support. Some of it comes also in forex, as in dollars. So it impacts on the strength of the currency. So when the USAID grants come in, it also supports the currency and economic growth, as we have seen. And so it's a big issue. And the support that, in fact, Ghana requested from USAID for the year 2025, it's approximately $138 million. And if this is anything to go by with what is happening in the United States with President Donald Trump's order, this money is not going to come. And we have to start thinking about how to come up with this amount as a country, going through our own austerity and our challenges to fund all these programs that USAID has been supporting us and giving us all the support for as a country over the period. This is it. And as Amwabeng Austin is the president of the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network. And there's a reason why we're talking to him, because USAID supports Ghana with antiretrovirals and many others. Ernest, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. This certainly is not good news for you and for many people, is it not?
Hi, Alfred. Very good evening to you. Yes, certainly it's not a good time for us.
And already has this thinking begun as to what to do to support, or as it were, keep the program going in terms of the support that the USAID was giving to you for antiretrovirals and others? Other alternative support mechanisms? Has government started talking to you?
We are here to engage government on this particular issue, but some way, somehow, the support that we receive from USAID is, in the health sector, when it comes to HIV and AIDS programming, for example, the support is basically in 3 regions. That's the Western region, Western North, and Ahafo regions. These are the areas where Global Fund support does not touch, and so the USAID basically supports us in those areas. When it comes to antiretroviral medication, the Global Fund basically pays for all the antiretroviral medication. So we don't directly receive ARVs from USAID. All our ARVs come through the Global Fund. But then we are still concerned because the US government is a major contributor to the Global Fund. So if the current situation continues, then it stands to reason that in the not too distant future, we are going to be hit heavily when it comes to antiretroviral medication.
I see. But then again, it's not just antiretrovirals. We're talking about other interventions that USAID was supporting. You are not going to be spared of the impact of this withdrawal of the funding, isn't it?
Exactly so. From where I sit, much of our focus is on the 3 diseases that the Global Fund supports. That is the HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Now, the U.S. government also, under the President's Malaria Initiative, supports us as a country when it comes to malaria. They particularly give us a lot of mosquito nets in our fight against malaria. They also invest in tuberculosis, maternal health, and all the others that you mentioned. And even beyond health, they support us in agriculture, they are in governance, in education, in another economic activity. So the support to us, as you rightly stated, annually is around $150 million. That's quite a substantial amount of money. And so this withdrawal is going to have a very, very serious impact on us. And then also there's one component of the USAID support, which is very critical, and that has to do with logistics, the movement of commodities. We run a project known as the Last Mile Delivery Program. And with this kind of program, we ensure that regional medical stores deliver commodities to our health centers, our chief compounds, our hospitals, in the remotest of areas. So that service has been disrupted by this particular order. And if you look at the northern part of the country, northern region, Savannah, Northeast, Upper East, where chemonics was very active, they have been severely impacted because commodities are not moving to those areas. So yes, it has very far-reaching implications for us as a country.
Austin, thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And we'll see how the coming days will look like on this matter, whether the various sectors that are going to be affected and the ministers of these sectors would convene a conversation on what to do going forward in the midst of this decision by the United States to shut down the USAID. We're back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. This is Ghana Tonight.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale.
Incredible!
If you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale.
Incredible!
If you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight, and I'm going to tell you the verdict of the people on whether to use local language in Parliament or not before we go. But this is the Deputy Minister nominees, and that list that was announced earlier today from the Presidency. Thomas Nyakwampim, Deputy Minister of Finance Designate, Ebenezer Klete-Telabi, Minister of Interior Deputy Designate, and the Defense. That's the Deputy Defense Minister Designate, and there's Broja Jemfi as well. Dr. Clement Tabasa Park, Deputy Education Minister Designate, Busa South Member of Parliament. Yes, obviously, did not surprise many. It was expected to have his name mentioned. Richard Jan Mensah, Deputy Energy Green Transition Minister Designate. Al-Hassan Saibu Swini, Deputy Roads and Highways Minister Designate, and law lecturer, the University of Ghana Law School, private legal practitioner, Justice Shem Sai, has been named as Deputy Attorney General, Minister of Justice. Yusuf Sulemana, the Bole Bamboy Member of Parliament, named Deputy Minister, Lands and Natural Resources Designate. So this is the list that came through. Also, Rita Na Odole Soa, the Ladade Kotopon Member of Parliament, Deputy Minister Designate for the Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Ministry. Gisela Tete Agbotui, Deputy Works and Housing, Water Resources Minister Designate. Yusuf Isaka Jaja, Deputy Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts Minister Designate. And they also as Wogon Member of Parliament. In fact, many obviously have been reacting to this. Quite a surprise. John Kofi Dumelo, he's a farmer, as a matter of fact, an MP for the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency. He's been named as a Deputy Food and Agriculture Minister Designate. Samson Yahim, Deputy Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Minister Designate, the Bode Member of Parliament as well. So you see a number of them hands-on, and these persons are expected to appear before the Appointments Committee of Parliament and also to be vetted. And if you go on our X page at TV3 Ghana on X, 87% of you who responded say you want to have local language as well spoken on the floor of Parliament, but subject to interpretation. And 13% of you say no. you want the English to be the main language of communication on the floor of Parliament. The conversation continues on X, on Facebook, and also on Instagram. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. Join the New Day team on TV3 and the Sunrise team on 3FM 92.7. My name is Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.